details as we speak. What we do know is that this person has been driving around for some time and now taking a ramp, getting up there onto the highway. Luckily, you see not a lot of cars out there, but we know with rush hour things can start getting very busy very quickly.
It looks like the driver now picking up speed, going there in that center lane. Again, as Caitlin mentioned, not a lot of traffic here, but you got to know that this driver assumes that they can hear and see the choppers above. Skyfox obviously above this chase, along with other choppers out there as well. So this driver not going to get away, but obviously continuing to go, and this has been going on now for more than an hour, we're hearing now.
Yeah, at least an hour. You can see that vehicle that we're following weaving in traffic, and we know our highway traffic moves pretty quickly, so this person driving very quickly, police not far behind, you can still see them there, but this person has looped around. This person has been stopped and then got away from law enforcement. This has been, unfortunately, an eventful pursuit. We're just happy that so far it does not appear anyone's been hurt or put in any major danger. And there you see,
yeah.
Oh, just as I say that, that was a very, very close call as that person just took, the driver just took that exit ramp.
Yeah, right off Telephone Road, the exit ramp there.
So it looks like some of the law enforcement officers not able to make the turn and continuing down straight. Our chopper continuing to try to follow. Oh, sometimes our chopper gets a little shaken up, readjusting the camera. But again, appears that was Telephone Road that the driver got off. Again, Southwest Houston. We're breaking in to bring you updates on this so we can track this so that anyone who's heading home or out on the roadways can continue to be aware. We're in Southeast Houston at this point, starting in Southwest, having made our way to Southeast. If you have anyone on the roads commuting, please give them a heads up, give them a call if you can, just so that they know what to expect. This is coming up fast as they pursue this driver, so it's very quick when these things come up on you while you're driving normal. These things really just can become overwhelming.
And as Skyfox pulls out here, you can see as we get the different vantage point that there are at least 5 or 6 police cruisers vehicles with their lights on now, actively pursuing this vehicle. I don't know if you can see it from this. Here you go. If you look there toward the middle of your screen, looks like right now the driver may be forced to stop as
yeah, we got quite a bit of traffic there at that light as he's coming off the highway once again.
Yeah, so again, right now this is in Southeast Houston. As Caitlin mentioned, it started in Southwest Houston, right in the Hiram Clark area. This was on East Ridge Creek around 1:30, 1:45 today. We don't know the exact time, but we do know again that it, according to police, started with some sort of domestic disturbance. Some threats were made, apparently, according to police, by the driver, and this is what the result was, this chase that is continuing to go on.
All right, so we are, again, confirming information as we follow the situation. Our big concern, of course, is what's going on for drivers who are in this area. As you see our helicopter trying to zero in on that vehicle, which just was able to sort of weave through that traffic we saw and get potentially away from law enforcement, unfortunately. And that's something we saw, Jonathan, we just watched it minutes ago, right before we came live. We saw on our cameras that this driver was stopped by law enforcement. Guns were drawn, and that person was able to get away, hit the gas, and evaded police. They were right there, and that's just not usually how it goes.
Yeah, you can even see some of the police vehicles weaving in and out of traffic a little bit, trying to locate the driver.
All right, there we go. You can see there's the vehicle being pursued by the law enforcement vehicle with the lights flashing. So there you have it on the kind of right side of the highway, taking that exit. There we go on Broadway Boulevard, exit 31, getting off on Broadway.
Yeah, taking this exit ramp here. It'll be interesting to see what the driver does from here. But we have
seen
such
a bold driver too so
far. For sure. We've seen the speed change. We've seen the driver going in and out of traffic, weaving in. Also doing a lot of I guess circling and looping, which is interesting. We typically don't see in something like this. But again, this is a chase that we have seen go on longer than normal. We cover these things every now and then, and typically maybe 5-10 minutes. But this one, more than an hour. Now look here. If you see under, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Alrighty.
Okay, taking that loop under here.
There he is coming out from the turnaround, coming back into traffic on the feeder. Looks like the driver's heading back towards downtown on the feeder road.
So merging back on 610 at this point, as he just came off, getting right back on in a different direction, obviously. But now we'll see driver once again picking up speed. Yeah, you can't see it from this vantage point, but there are at least 5 or 6 cruisers actively pursuing the vehicle. Obviously, they have different procedures when they're pursuing a vehicle like this. So one vehicle obviously up close, but there are many behind, and along with the police choppers that you are seeing above as well.
Yeah, so this is on the East Loop. We just saw him get off at Broadway, and now he's on the feeder road right by 610. Law enforcement coming in hot from behind there, trying to catch up, get more officers around this vehicle as that vehicle continues to weave through traffic. Unfortunately, it's not too busy on most of the roads that we've seen this happen on so far, but we're coming up on the Gulf Freeway, coming up to a stop, and there's not really anywhere for this driver to go.
He just bumped the car.
Yeah, pushing them out of the way. All right, so that person moving to the side, pushing them out of the way.
Kind of ran through the intersection there, and this continues. It continues. As we've seen, this driver is not stopping at all. The driver's been in several positions where you might have thought that he or she would stop, but
we have covered
going.
a lot of these types of chases, unfortunately, and I've never seen someone evade law enforcement to the extent that this person has in terms of close calls.
So now the driver here on 45, we saw the driver just get off 610, but now heading right up the interstate there, getting into the lane there, the faster lane, and continuing to pick up speed as we see that cruiser, that one particular police vehicle staying very close with others following not too far behind.
All right, so you can see it's getting a little more dense on the roadways. We are heading into rush hour right now. Looks like the driver is going more so against traffic at this time, but we are concerned for the safety of drivers. This is 45 Gulf Freeway, but this driver has been in Southwest Houston, Southeast Houston now, coming up on the 59-288 split, so covered a lot of ground, and we want to make sure that you can get a message out to anyone you know on the roads right now, just to keep their eyes peeled. If they see those lights, if they hear these sirens, just to be very careful, kind of get themselves out of the way. Our biggest concern is, of course, the safety of all the other drivers on the roadway as law enforcement tries to get this driver off the roadways.
Yeah, it's just so interesting how long this has gone on. If you are just joining us here at 4 o'clock, we are covering a police chase that is happening. It started in Southwest Houston, then moved to Southeast Houston, and now this vehicle and this driver is heading toward downtown on the Gulf Freeway. Again, we know that this started with some sort of domestic disturbance where the driver or someone inside apparently made threats to a family member, and this ensuing police chase is what followed and what we are looking at right now live.
Continuing to follow this vehicle that has evaded arrest so far multiple times, right down to law enforcement having the vehicle surrounded. They were out of their cars, they were on foot right up to the doors, and the vehicle took off. And you can see just how quickly this person's been driving the whole time. We've seen, Jonathan, weird driving in terms of looping around in more residential areas, and now heading in and out on the freeways with law enforcement right on their tail.
Yeah, you have to wonder what goes through the mind of these drivers when they have, whoever this is clearly seen the numerous police vehicles behind, the choppers above, and now, once again, kind of in a pretty tricky position, and manages to weave around that again.
So this is passing Cullen. So this is not far from UH. Anyone leaving the university area right now, the vehicle pursuit, according to Houston police, started around 3:30. So that's when the chase began. As we mentioned, this all stemmed from a domestic dispute call that came in closer to 1:30. So we're looking for more details, asking them for more details on how this escalated to a chase. But if you watch, they're saying that's the black Nissan there that's weaving in traffic. If you watch, this person has been able to get through. It looks more bluish. Law enforcement saying black, but that dark Nissan moving through, asking everyone, law enforcement asking everyone to avoid the area if they can. Though this person has moved so quickly, Jonathan, it would be hard to know where they're going to be and where to avoid at the rate that they're going.
And obviously, we're getting closer to rush hour right now at 4 o'clock, so you're going to see more traffic. And so obviously police are keeping that in mind as they pursue this vehicle as well. They want to make sure that, keep in mind the safety of the other drivers who are out on the road. But look at this right here. Once again, the driver slowing down, forced to slow down, but managing a way to go right through those two trucks.
And this person has gotten out of some pretty tight situations traffic-wise so far already in terms of getting on and off the highway, getting to some of these intersections. Often we see these end with a crash at an intersection. We have not seen anything besides this person sort of bumping into other vehicles. The other thing that's important to note, this law enforcement telling us this person might be armed. So there's the concern about that as they continue to pursue this person in this vehicle as what is now at least a 30-minute pursuit so far on Houston highways.
Yeah, it's a 30-minute pursuit, but we do know, again, Caitlin, that this started a couple hours ago, at least the initial interaction with police. And again, the concern is that this person might be armed, and so police are being very particular and careful with how they handle this driver, obviously not wanting to put anyone else in danger who is out there on the road, or any other people who might be out, because we have seen some people, in fact, walking out and about in some of these areas that the driver has gone through. But again, you see the driver there continuing to go.
So just crossing over Emancipation, this driver now heading into downtown Houston. So we're seeing this driver get closer and closer to downtown, where a lot of people are getting off work, a lot of people heading out for their commute. So please, if you know someone leaving downtown right now, give them a call, shoot them a text, tell them to turn on Fox 26, or if they have our app, they can go to our app to watch live and follow this coverage. Even if they're in their car, they can pull the app up, put it next to them, and listen in as we continue to follow this vehicle, which again just took Emancipation towards downtown, turning once again onto side streets, northbound on Pease. And this is right near the Toyota Center. You can recognize some of these buildings. That's a parking garage for Toyota Center right there. So we're in downtown Houston at this point.
So right now we're seeing, I think this is a one-way street right here.
Oh, man.
So this is on Crawford again, right here downtown. A lot of us are familiar with this area, this part of downtown. Typically a busy area. Right now, not a lot of traffic out there. But now, once again, we're seeing the driver loop around.
Continuing to pull sharp turns, looping and sort of wandering roads in a way that's got law enforcement just sort of circling and continuing to follow them, going through intersections like this. So far, fortunately, we have not seen anyone else hurt, but we've seen some very, very close calls, including this driver essentially pushing another car out of the way when getting to an intersection that was blocked. Yeah,
very rare for us to see one of these. Okay, so this is a one-way street again, that the driver obviously going in the opposite direction of traffic, and so that's obviously putting really tough there. But it's rare that we've seen these kinds of chases, Caitlin, where they've really gone all across the city. I mean, we've seen southwest, southeast, downtown, and this is a pretty long chase.
And we often don't see them go downtown. We rarely see anyone have a chase downtown. It's often either in residential areas or on the highways. So this is one of the few where we've seen someone weave through our downtown streets on the grid, continuing to go against traffic, now back with traffic, but weaving through everything. You can recognize some of these. Is that the Greenway area? No. All right, producer Maggie telling us we're still downtown, still following that vehicle who's been, again, weaving around.
So right now the driver is going northbound on Louisiana, and this is an area where a lot of people are getting off of work, who are walking home, walking to their cars. So certainly if you know someone in that area, you might want to tell them to just stay in until this is all over, because this is an area where we do see a lot of walking around, and the driver obviously not taking anything into account when it comes to safety, weaving and going in and out of traffic, going the wrong direction we've seen. So certainly something to be concerned about if you are downtown.
And law enforcement pointing out that this person is believed to be armed. So the concern, of course, if this turns into someone on the run, on foot, then there's going to be even more concern about safety for others in the area.
All right, we see at least, again, 4 or 5 police vehicles actively.
This is right near HPD headquarters, too, so we may see additional vehicles join in on this chase. Obviously, our helicopter following this, but with downtown, a lot of tall buildings, so trying to get an eye on that vehicle, which continues to change directions, switch roadways, just weaving through downtown right now erratically. So please bear with us, but continue to contact people you know who are heading home from downtown right now. Give them a heads up to be very alert, very careful if they hear the sirens, if they see the lights, that they should do everything they can to get out of the way so that they don't end up getting involved in this chase. So there's the vehicle. We've got our eyes on them again, crossing back, sort of reversing course back where they came from, heading into some traffic here. and turning the
going
wrong
the wrong
way.
direction on a one-way street. Yeah, so we've seen this. And again, part of the concern here is that the suspect, the person in the vehicle, might be armed. And so police are being very aware of that as well and how they go about this. But we
Look at that. They turned around, going wrong way again, but got out as they reached that sort of dead end with other vehicles there. So we're on Polk downtown, shooting through intersections. Please be careful. Please tell people you know who are heading home from work downtown to open the Fox 26 app, keep it on their lap as they're driving so that they can continue to follow where this is happening. As they get to intersections, proceed with caution. This person is going far too fast. In fact, if you are downtown, law enforcement pointing out this person is, they believe could be armed. So if you can stay inside, it might be the safest way. You see people there on the sidewalk. That's very close to where this person has been driving so erratically now for at least 30, 40 minutes since
right
this
now
chase
on
began.
Travis, but turning off of Travis again. This is right in the heart of downtown Houston. So right now the driver turning on Walker. We've seen him or he or she going into, and we do know it's a man. Okay.
Male suspect in
Male
that
suspect.
vehicle. All right, so we've got to stop. But we've seen this person, if you were with us a little while ago, I mean, this person stopped and had law enforcement on their feet, standing next to the door, and got away. Has pushed other vehicles out of the way at intersections to move through. And once again, despite traffic, just evaded law enforcement, turning onto McKinney downtown.
Yeah, you got to think that, you know, police, they train for things like this. They are obviously making sure that they go about this in a very safe way. So again, right now you can't see, but the driver on Louisiana, which is a one-way. Okay, so this is McKinney right here.
And again, to anyone you know downtown, this driver has been going the wrong way, has been going erratically through downtown. So keep your eyes peeled. Tell them to wait this out until law enforcement gets this under control. And Jonathan, you mentioned the training for this. I've been to the police driving course where they train. These police vehicles can do a lot, and this person has really been testing that with these sharp turns, with these turnarounds, trying to weave in and out of downtown streets to get them off their tail.
So I'm sure some people watch and say, well, why aren't they being more aggressive? But again, keeping in mind the safety of other drivers and the fact that this suspect, we do know, according to police, is likely armed. And so that all plays into how aggressive they are when it comes to maybe trying to block the vehicle in or put out spike strips, anything like that. They're trained for situations like this when they have a driver who they know is erratic and dangerous.
So this all began stemming from a call that law enforcement got around 1:30, some sort of a domestic disturbance that they were responding to. And then we are asking for details on how things escalated, but they say around 3:30 is when this chase began. So something happening between those 2 hours that led and escalated to this. So that pursuit has been going on now for 40 minutes and counting. And this person continuing to weave through downtown after having gone through Southwest Houston, Southeast Houston. We've seen this driver on 45, on 610, driving in so many areas where we're going to see heavy traffic for our commute. So please be careful as we continue to follow where this driver is. Please let people know, particularly if they're downtown, that they should be keeping a very close eye on the news. Tell them to tune in, tell them to stay inside. I worry sometimes when we see these chases, Jonathan, about the people on the sidewalk so quickly. These drivers are going so fast, could end up pulling onto a sidewalk to try to get around traffic, and someone could be right there, and you worry that we would unfortunately have to see someone get hurt. We do not want to see that. So please let people know downtown to stay inside and keep an eye on this with us as we continue to track. You can see our chopper picking things up over on the side. This person's been able to evade law enforcement more than I've seen many drivers do in these chases that we've had.
Really, right here you see a lot of pedestrians, a lot of folks walking. It is time for a lot of folks to be heading home from work. So let's just hope that everyone is safe out here. And you know, police are obviously keeping that in mind as well, and how, I guess, close and how aggressive they are with pursuing this driver, considering that we're in the heart of downtown Houston.
So right now our chopper zeroing back in on that vehicle that law enforcement has been chasing for 40 minutes in a high-speed chase that has gone all around the Houston area. But with the tall buildings of downtown, this person's been turning every other turn, I mean really weaving. So as we continue to zero in on where this is, we remind you to send a note to anyone you know downtown. Warn them that this chase is active, it is dangerous. This person is considered to possibly be armed according to law enforcement. So we want to make sure everyone stays inside and stays safe until they get this situation shut down and under control.
That's right. Again, we don't know a whole lot about the suspect. We have confirmed now it is a male suspect, but apparently that person made some threats to a family member or family members, and that is what happened here after that. This chase, this person pursued now by law enforcement. We've seen at least 5 or 6 vehicles, but I'm sure there are many more that we just don't see here from the vantage point. As Caitlin mentioned, this is right here in downtown Houston, so a lot of tall buildings. Our chopper having to fly obviously higher than normal, and right now you see Toyota Center, but we are trying to find the vehicle. It's not clear yet if police have
been able to get that person.
Been able to get back to the person.
The driver was just over in this area. We saw when they came into downtown, barreled around the Toyota Center area, has been on every road from Crawford to Louisiana to Smith, Travis Walker. I mean, this person is weaving through traffic in ways that are extremely dangerous. So please send that note to people you know. Everyone stay in. Let's wait until we get confirmation while we figure out whether they're able to get this driver off our streets. Obviously, the concern that this person's armed could jump out of the vehicle and be on foot. We don't know that yet. We're continuing to follow and try to zero in on that suspect as they continue to be chased by law enforcement through downtown. You can see how many people are starting to get out, and we're not even at rush hour, so it's only going to get busier in these downtown streets and on our highways. So we're going to stay right with you until we get confirmation that that person is off the road, bringing you every update law enforcement brings us in terms of where this driver is going. Yeah,
we've seen the driver, as Caitlin mentioned, do some pretty erratic things, some things that we don't see necessarily in a usual police chase, if you will.
Unusual.
This driver looping around the same street multiple times, going around, going the wrong way on a one-way street. And again, this chase has gone all the way from the Hiram Clark area in southwest Houston to southeast Houston. We saw the driver get on 610, then on 45, heading right into downtown. So this is something that we have not really seen in a while, but we're hoping that we can relocate this driver. We're waiting along with the chopper, obviously, as we said, kind of lost the area there as it was flying a little bit higher above in downtown. But from what we know, according to police, this is still going on. We're just trying to locate the driver.
Now, what we're hearing is that the Houston Police Department may be backing off from the chase. So we are going to be gathering more information at this time. Just remind anyone you know downtown to be very careful as they head out for their commute home. Just keep your eyes peeled. If you see lights, hear sirens, pull to the side of the road, slow down if you can. We're going to get confirmation from the Houston Police Department about this chase, which we're hearing may have ramped down. So we are going to have obviously more information on our News at 5, but if we get any more alerts, make sure you download the Fox 26 News app. That's where we'll be able to push any notifications to you instantly should there be any further escalation in this chase.
And of course, we're going to stick it here for the news at 5 o'clock because we'll have a full report on this chase that has again gone all across our city this afternoon. A chase that lasted for, I think now, more than 45 minutes to an hour, which is highly unusual for a chase. So again, we're going to continue to stream this live on our Facebook page and let you know of any updates.
We're monitoring the situation, and we'll see you back here live at 5 o'clock. Again, send a note to everyone you know downtown. Stay safe.
will maintain a visual talking on 02. I got you up there.
So erratically,
there we go, right
throughout
there.
the area from southwest to southeast, now through downtown, and we see here law enforcement pulled into a lot, walking up to the vehicle. Looks like they may have gotten this person in custody. This is you're looking right near the scene. You see a vehicle there right near that intersection, pulled onto the sidewalk. And at this point, you can't see the vehicle, but this is the area where it looks like they have gotten that vehicle surrounded and sort of under control. Our big concern for the past hour has been that this person has been driving so dangerously. And there you go. There you can see the vehicle. This is right near San Jacinto downtown.
Obviously, there was a big concern here because police had said from the very beginning that they thought that the driver very well could be armed. And so that's why they have taken perhaps a kind of a different approach with pursuing this driver, not as aggressive as perhaps they could be. But you can see several law enforcement officers outside, right outside of the vehicle. We haven't seen the driver get out at this point. But you see, if you look closely under the bush there are at least 3 officers there standing by. I believe, obviously, they would be armed because they do believe the suspect is armed as well.
You can see people there on the bottom of your screen being told, maybe it's right under the banner there, but people walking away from the intersection, coming around the side of the building, trying to get everyone safe. We've had a lot of pedestrians. It's rush hour. You can see the vehicle. Looks like they've got the driver pinned in there, and it looks like there's the driver had a white T-shirt on. So you can see that looks like the driver's still in the vehicle as law enforcement approaches there on the vehicle's right side, passenger side. Several officers starting to come through. So we are continuing to at least be able to report that this chase has ended, which means people heading home from work now in the next couple minutes no longer appear to need to be concerned about that. But we want to make sure that we have the situation under control for the safety of people in the San Jacinto and Rusk area. As we mentioned, this person was believed to be armed. So we are continuing to follow until we hear confirmation from police that all threats have been taken care of and that people are safe to be out in the area after this extremely dangerous extremely dangerous chase. Again, this is San Jacinto at Rusk.
So again, police are saying if you are headed that way, or if you know someone who is headed that way, you will want to avoid the area. Sky Fox giving us a closer look now as police look like they are forcing their way inside the vehicle at this point, going about it from all directions now. So interesting approach here is we see at least a dozen or so officers on every aspect, every angle of this vehicle, going from the passenger side, the driver's side, and from some of the back. We don't know if there are multiple people inside. We do know at least one man, we're told, was inside.
All right, so there's somebody, looks like in jeans and a red shirt, coming out of the vehicle. If you go on Twitter, I posted the picture of how an hour ago law enforcement had 3 of these doors open as this vehicle was still in Southwest Houston. Guns drawn, pulled up to the vehicle, and the driver hit the gas and got away. So this person has evaded arrest already, and you can see here.
And it looks like the person is still
trying to knock it out of the vehicle there.
Still giving, resisting, still very much resisting. If you look closely, it looks like officers are kind of yanking on him to come out. Right there. They have him on the ground. On the ground. This all originated from a call at 1:30 to law enforcement about some sort of a domestic dispute, and escalated to a chase around 3:30. Now an hour later, you can see we've stopped that chase, and it appears they're going to be taking this person into custody. That's right. Of course, this has been a dramatic chase, unlike many that we've seen. You see the person, it looks like their pants are coming off. It looks like he has some boxers as police have been trying to yank him out of the vehicle. We do know it's a man there, a rather large man, you can see right there on the ground.
We had been told that this person was believed to be armed, so it looks like they've got this person under control and in custody. Speaking to law enforcement there from the ground, after earlier we saw as they had his vehicle surrounded, again an hour or so ago, he was sort of throwing his hands up at law enforcement, shouting at them as they approached the vehicle before hitting the gas and pursuing to one of the most erratic chases that I've ever seen in the Houston area, or even, you know, from other cities where I've covered some wild traffic. Jonathan, we were seeing some really dangerous driving behavior from this person.
Yeah, the man there obviously still having some words with police. Obviously, we don't have the audio. We don't know exactly what he's saying, but I don't know what his excuse would be for what he did today, leading police on a chase that went from southwest to southeast to downtown Houston, and ended with him on the ground with his pants off, there with his hands behind his back, something we just don't see. But again, he does have his boxers on, but I'm referring to his pants as police were pulling him out of the vehicle.
Well, he was resisting. I mean, they had a dozen officers trying to get him out of that vehicle, and he was holding on to stay inside. So unclear what it was that led them to need to take him into custody. We've gotten some initial reporting on the domestic dispute called domestic disturbance, but we're going to have a lot more on that coming up in our news in about 20 minutes, in our news at 5 o'clock, as we wait for more information from law enforcement.
All right, we'll see you then.